when I was getting into this work, although I was 19 and doing a BA, I was 22 and doing my master's. Because I learned that if I've said to people, and I'd heard from other people, that if I was a teenager and I was in university, it's like, oh, you need the experience, you must need it, you're craving for that experience. And it's like, great, but experience doesn't pay my rent, experience doesn't pay my bills, experience might put me in a position where I might be able to stay in London, it's not gonna keep me going there. So I had to make it. So with that opportunity, I audited all these businesses, 2 of them were arts businesses, and then I just kept going from there. I worked on a group show where one of the artists I've worked with for a long time, Simone Brewster,
of course,
was at that gallery show, and I've worked with her from that day. So I kind of came into it by chance. I just fell in love with it when I worked with it. Like the real life, there's so much of a realness to it. When you're working and speaking with artists, that is. There's obviously so much to say about the other side, but when I was looking at communicating artists and working with them, that felt real because they are a real person, they have a real thing. Even if you might not agree with what their art is about or what they're painting about, or if you think it's good or not, they spend their whole life doing it. So there must be a reason as to why, and the why is always what I've wanted to explore, and that kind of just set me on this constant route of exploration, I guess.
I'd love to go back to what you just said about kind of this idea of maybe accessibility is a good word for it, is where do you kind of come into this world? As you say, the moment that someone hears that you are an of internship age, there is an ecosystem that is very, very comfortable taking advantage of people like that, making sure that you work for free. I'd love for you to speak a little bit on your experience about that, how you fought it, how you've managed to kind of retain the, what's a good way of putting it? Retain the power, I guess, is making sure that people don't take advantage of you, because it's an ecosystem that is really comfortable doing that.
Yes.
And unpaid internships are a huge part
Massively.
of every institution right now.
Massively. I guess I've always thought to bring something to the table instead of coming to the table and asking, like, what can you give me? So even when I was starting, I knew how to launch social medias, I knew how to conduct video strategies, I knew how to conduct photo. I didn't. I told myself that I did.
It is. I genuinely think it's okay to lie. I really think it's okay to lie.
Yeah, and the thing is, I wasn't necessarily like lying. I knew how to do it, but I didn't necessarily know how to do a strategy. I didn't know how to place it maybe in an arts context. But when I came and I had that confidence of like, this is what I can do, I felt that the power dynamic wasn't, okay, you do this, this, and this. It was, okay, these are the things you've said to do, you do them, and I'm kind of judged on what I bring to the table. So I feel I've always made sure that I've brought something and never just worked with someone to work with someone, or never just put myself in a gallery because it's one of the biggest galleries in Mayfair. Like, what can I actually bring, and how can my talent be respected and not just kind of shoved in a box like a lot of the cases for these institutions and galleries.
Absolutely.
You start on the internship level, then you might get to, like potentially sales associate, and then, you're probably there for like 10 years before you can even sniff at getting higher up the managerial ladder. So I just looked at that system, and I looked at I think it copies a corporate system essentially, and I didn't want to be a part of that. I wanted to create something, and I think I was coming at it at a time where social media was becoming way more important than ever, like way more important. Just before COVID and then going into COVID, of course, it really kicked off. So I was able to come at it I was able to come at it from a point where it hadn't been too saturated yet, where people were looking for new ideas. They were looking for just someone who could take on the job and present some idea and have confidence in the idea. And I think that almost in a way just sells it at the first step. Of course, then you have to do the work. But I think, I've always tried to stay on top of what people are needing and what people are wanting, and not waiting for someone to come to me and say, this is what I want you to do, but here's what you should be doing. And, I haven't thought of that. And then just the power dynamic shifts a little bit. You're seen more as an expert as opposed to like a spare part in a team.